Well, let's bring in Ben Shapiro from the Ben Shapiro Show and Daily Wire editor. He runs that thing, and he's got some important mandate news to update us on. But first things first, Nancy Pelosi has never looked weaker. I mean, she's called for a vote 4 or 5 times, and it just hasn't happened. No one's calling her out on it. And now she's putting it all on the line today. Why, Ben? The election's over. If there's a chance of failure, why put herself on the line again?
I think that for Nancy Pelosi, the real question is, does she have any power left in the House, considering how fractious her coalition is? And for her, she needs to pass something just to demonstrate that she's not completely feckless at this point, especially because you have to remember that we are now approaching, again, the debt ceiling issue. Yeah. Right? That's going to pop up again in early December. We are already in November, and the House is about to go on vacation for a week. So she really needs to get something passed through the House, even if it means ramming through a bill that nobody's read. If she's unable to pass this again, because this, remember, I think it's the 3rd or 4th time she's said she's going to bring the bill to a vote, and the other time she obviously didn't. Yep. If she can't do it, it's going to underscore the idea that not only is this party too radical, they can't even get done what they promised they would get done.
Yeah, but look at Joe Biden. The reason we're at this point is because of Joe Biden. Joe Biden said, yeah, let's put the radical lefty Build Back Better thing with the infrastructure, the bipartisan infrastructure thing, so that they've got to go in parallel, which is what the progressives wanted. But mainstream Congress just wanted the infrastructure bill. But Joe Biden said, no, I want them both together. And he looks weak.
No, that's exactly correct. I mean, Biden has had very little sway here. And if you're a moderate Democrat, what exactly is your incentive to pass Build Back Better at this point, given what just happened in Virginia? If you're running in a purple district and you just watched the fact that New Jersey was almost lost to the Republicans the other night, you got to be thinking to yourself that your seat is on the line. And if you're in the Senate, obviously, you're thinking that Manchin and Sinema might be they might be taking fire for you. If you're Maggie Hassan in New Hampshire, do you really want to be voting in favor of a bill that, by all shapes, is not particularly popular with the American people? It's just that there's not a lot of internal logic here, but the Democrats keep doubling down on stupid. They keep saying that the reason they think they lost Virginia is because they didn't pass these bills, when perhaps the reason they lost Virginia is because they wanted to pass these bills, and everybody said, we would like for you not to do this sort of stuff.
Yeah, Joe Manchin basically said, yesterday we were airing those sound bites, he basically said, let's learn from this. We need to learn from what happened in Virginia. And he's just trying to appease his constituents, because they're the ones that will vote for him, depending on what he decides to do in Washington. And he is getting a lot of backlash because of that from protesters who are probably from different states. They're standing in front of his car. They're circling his houseboat. And yesterday in the garage, they circled the houseboat. He walks into the garage. He gets in his car. They stand in front of the car. And then they're yelling things like, you're trying to run over us. And he wasn't. His security team had to push the people over to the side so that he could drive out of the garage. You've been harassed. You've been canceled. But watch this video if the viewers haven't seen it.
Joe Manchin, why won't you fight for me? Joe Manchin, is it worth it? Is the money worth it? Is the money that important, Joe Manchin? Is it more important than my life, Joe Manchin? Is it more important than your kid's life? Joe Manchin, is the money better than our lives? Can you look me in my eyes as I talk to you? Do you only talk to millionaires? Open the gate.
Ben, they don't like the way he is voting. They don't like his views, and so they're harassing him.
I mean, honestly, we should all be laughing at these people. I'm sorry, but it's kind of hilarious. I mean, the fact is that you have a bunch of protesters who are descending on weddings that Kyrsten Sinema is officiating, and trying to harass Kyrsten Sinema into changing her vote. Good luck with that. Or harassing Joe Manchin into changing his vote by screaming at him. And again, you're not even from the state that he actually represents. The baseline notion that you're going to be able to harass people into doing what you want, I think it's been pretty well proven that bad behavior in public does not tend to actually elicit the results that you want here. They don't have movement from Manchin and Sinema. They don't have a program. They don't actually have a unified coalition. And again, half the party, at least, thinks the problem here is that they're not progressive enough. I mean, you had Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez blaming the Virginia loss on not being progressive enough in Virginia. Yeah, good luck with that.
You're right. Ben, let's talk about this. It's going to affect you. You have a business of over 100 people. Therefore, the vaccination mandate is going to be in January 4th. You either got to get vaccinated or get tested. They're going to consult. They're going to help you. You don't think this is right. What are you doing about this?
Yeah, we are not going to comply with this mandate, and we've already filed a federal lawsuit with the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals to stop this mandate. It is unconstitutional. It is illegal. It violates the original enabling act for OSHA. It is completely anti-scientific as well. It provides nothing in terms of some sort of exception for natural immunity. It makes no sense. And this is coming from a person who's very pro-vaccine, right? I'm vaxxed. My wife is vaxxed. My parents are vaxxed. I'm very pro-vaccination, but this has nothing to do with that. This is a crackdown on liberty by the Biden administration. I will note the irony of them suggesting that it's an emergency temporary measure, but it only goes into place 60 days from now, after the holidays, when everybody will be getting together. This has nothing to do with actually mitigating COVID and everything to do with top-down control by the Biden administration. Frankly, I wonder if Biden even thinks this is ever going to go into effect, or whether it's just a PR ploy.
What about the supply chain issue here? Because that it includes 1/3 of the group that works for a big company with over 100 employees are not vaccinated. So they're not going to be able to go back to work probably unless they pay for their own testing every week, which many of them are not going to do.
Truckers
right.
especially.
Yep, well, this is right. I mean, there's no exception in this OSHA rule for trucking. Right. If you think the supply chain problems are bad right now, wait until those exacerbate after this mandate kicks into place. Again, I think there are governors across the country who are standing up against it. Businesses like ours are going to stand up against it. Obviously, we've already dedicated tens of thousands. Well, I'm sure we'll dedicate hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to push this case as far as it needs to go in order to stop this mandate. Frankly, my only hope here is that not only does the Supreme Court stop the mandate, they end up actually rejecting the Chevron doctrine on its back. That would be the greatest epic fail and rake stepping that you could imagine from the Biden administration.
Well, the Biden administration says it's not a vaccine mandate because there is a testing option. And so that is the legal leg they're going to stand on. But when you read the 490-page OSHA rule, essentially, one thing they hint at is it may apply to companies with more than 100 employees right now. But going forward, it sounds like they hint at they could change it to every business, regardless of the number of employees.
This is right. They talk about when they make the rule permanent, possibly extending it to every single business. Also, by the way, getting rid of the option to test out, right? So they say that maybe we'll get rid of that and we'll force you to vax. And again, there's no standard here by which we even can determine what fully vaxxed means, right? They actually open the possibility to, even after you're fully vaxxed, you have to mask up at work as well. They may change the type of mask that is necessary at work. I mean, this is authoritarian stuff from an authoritarian White House, that's for sure.
I would just like to bring this up before we move to the last topic, and that is the groups that are most reluctant on vaccinations are minorities. And the thing that the Democrats are bleeding is Hispanics, and the one that got Joe Biden in office is the black vote. I think 4 of 10 have gotten vaccinated, and they are going to be hit by this especially. Does he realize he's alienated his own base?
I think that he has boxed himself in with regard to COVID, and he can't get out. I think that Joe Biden believes that COVID basically is already over, but I think that he is pushing this anyway, because if he declares that COVID is over, everybody's going to say, so why are you spending trillions of dollars on unnecessary nonsense? So I think he's stuck between a rock and a hard place, frankly.
When it comes to the small businesses that he's considering mandating, there is, I think it's the Department of Labor, they're taking comments from the public. They want to know how you feel about that. So go to their website, it's Department of Labor, and write your comments in there and let them know how you feel. I imagine most of you don't want these mandates.
Ben, before you go, you mentioned Joe Biden. What do you make of the fact that there was an NPR poll that came out earlier in the week that said that, only 36% of Democrats want him to run for re-election in 2024, and 44% of Democrats want somebody else?
It is astonishing to see a person who's elected on the basis of not being Donald Trump and supposedly being moderate completely abandon his original mission and instead decide to pursue radical policies in the hopes of being LBJ or FDR. I've never seen anything quite like it politically. Somebody just completely abandoning what their chief goal was in order to appeal to history or something. I think most Americans understand that Joe Biden has blown this in a radical way. The guy was in the 50s in approval rating. He is now down in the high 30s or low 40s. That is historically bad.
What do you think the DNC will do? Do you think that he will run again?
I think they're really trapped here, right? If he does not run again, they've got Kamala Harris waiting in the wings. And if there's one politician worse than Joe Biden, it's Kamala Harris, who makes Hillary Clinton look like the apotheosis of charm.
Right. that is very true. I just think it's pretty amazing what has taken place, because he is going against moderates. He's making Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema look like presidential, but no one on the left seems to recognize that. Ben, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Hope you win your fight.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.